In a heated argument, my 37F husband, 39M, slapped me a week ago, and our son, 13M, and daughter, 9F, saw me. I am both heartbroken and ashamed. It's as the title suggests, last year has been pretty hard on our family. First, my husband and son had a serious car accident in March, and our son needed physiotherapy until 2 months ago. Then in June, my husband lost his management job as his company decided to shut down the local branch. Thankfully, he found a new management job at a different company a few weeks ago, but it was a tiring year for everyone in the family. As I said, it was a very scary and stressful year for us, and our marriage suffered because of it. He never said a word about his lack of income and was supportive. But the accident was a constant source of guilt for my husband. He confided in me that he thought he feels like he would never feel free from guilt for nearly killing our son and feels scared/uncomfortable to drive while any of us are in the car with him. And another thing is that we had very healthy sex lives with matching libidos until the accident and the job loss, and I tried to be very supportive until I failed a week ago. If he hadn't slapped me for what I said, I would be asking how to beg for my husband's forgiveness. Our fight was that bad, and even though I was slapped, I still feel guilty and horrible about what I said to him. We were arguing about something completely insignificant, whispering in the kitchen as we didn't want to alarm our children. He wanted to back out of the argument and join the kids in the living room, and my frustration, I said something quite rude about his performance lately and he slapped me in view of our children. I was just shocked, and I think he was as well. He tried to approach me and apologize immediately, and I backed off as a reflect. My daughter didn't realize what happened, but I think my son saw me since he became teary-eyed. He stuttered an apology. I asked him, "Can you please give me space?" and he complied, and I asked our children to go to their rooms and sleep. After I returned from putting kids back to bed, he was still standing in the kitchen. I was too ashamed of what I said and about being slapped as well. I couldn't say anything to him, and I think he felt the same way since he couldn't meet my eyes as well. We went to sleep like that while my husband slept on the couch. I don't think neither of us got any sleep. That morning before waking our children up, my husband asked to speak to me. He didn't enter into my personal space, and he said he was sorry and he didn't expect any forgiveness. It was completely up to me to decide to forgive him or not. He decided that he would still come home every morning and after work, but would use a hotel near us to sleep to give me space, and he hoped that we would still stay as a family. I still couldn't speak. This was the first time I have ever been physically struck, and I was still in shock. This has been going on for the last 5 days now. I feel ashamed to even stand in front of my son now, but I've to be his mother, so I keep that feeling inside. I feel like he saw me getting humiliated in such a way that would affect his respect and view of me. I also feel guilty as our son only saw his father's slap and not heard my rude and unworthy comment. And I am afraid how this will affect his relationship with his father as well. I feel ashamed when I'm speaking with my sister, as she wants me to leave my husband, but she never liked him for being an unapologetic Dixie, and even though I was slapped, I don't want to, and most of all, I feel ashamed and hurt and confused when I am in presence of my husband. I love this man, still love him more than I can express, but I hurt him in a way that was unworthy of me, and he hurt me in a way that was unworthy of him, and I feel that we damaged our relationship over something meaningless as sexual frustration. I've not slept alone since we've been married. Even in births of our children, my husband was there in a chair beside me, slumped up over my hospital bed. I miss his presence on my side the most, and I feel ashamed to feel that way even after getting slapped. Today, he came home again before the kids woke up, and normally I'd be the one driving them to school since he was afraid to drive them, but asked the kids if he could drive them. As he put them in the car, he came back and told me that he was sorry again and that he loves me and hopes we'll stay as a family. I wanted to run to his arms, but I was embarrassed, ashamed to accept his love and apology. I called in sick today to think about us. There's this other thing: I never talked with anyone, even with my sister, but since the slap, I had erotic dreams about my husband. being aggressive in bed twice. Both times I woke up feeling humiliated as shit. God, I thought using a throwaway account would make this easier, but even typing this made me feel wretched. I don't know if this is something that's going to stay with me for a while or not, and I hope not. I don't even know, after all of our real issues, I can open up this subject to my husband. I am looking for your advice on moving past this horrible event, the insult, slap, and also to make sure that our son can move on as well without damage to his mental state or with his view on us. I am desperately hoping that we can. We have been together for the last 16 years, and until this accursed year, I have never even questioned my happiness. Update: my husband is about to return home with our son and daughter. I'm planning on asking him to stay with me and our kids tonight. If I can get the courage to do it, I'm also planning to hug him and kiss him in front of the kids, and talking about our apologies as we prepare supper for us. I'll post an update tomorrow and ask for your advice again if something happens. Thank you for your time and advice. I am grateful to everyone who gave their time and effort into helping me and my family. Update 2. Yesterday, I and my husband had a talk in our front yard as we sent our children upstairs to get changed. We had a little private moment for us, but after we separated I told him that this will never happen again, and he readily agreed and apologized again, but I said I already knew that he regretted it and he didn't need to keep apologizing to me. I just needed him to be sure that this won't happen again. I also told him that he needed to see a therapist to talk through his guilt over the accident and job loss. He again readily accepted it. After we had a little private moment again, and during that, I told him that I knew my own mistakes. He tried to say that it was nothing, but I continued over him, and those mistakes would never repeat again. I told him that I was sorry, that I was too much of a coward to apologize for my words when he had already apologized for his actions days ago. I told him that I'd like to have my own therapy sessions regarding this year. Then I told him that we needed to talk with our son as he saw he slapped me, that he apparently didn't know and he was silent, so I continued on to tell him that we needed to talk with him about it and should discuss what we need to talk with him before and think about what he could ask us so we could present a united front for his doubts and concerns. I could see that his mood was worsening, and I told him that we both had a lot to feel guilty about as we both crossed lines that should not have been crossed, but I was glad he was back at home and at my side, and we prepared supper as a family afterward. As some of you had already said, they were already aware that their father was not at home at night for the last few days. As they were coming back, I asked my son if his sister knew of the incident, and he told me that he didn't tell her about it, but she was asking questions about their dad and if we were going to separate. I knew I failed as a mother in the last few days, focusing too much on myself and my husband, but I didn't realize it was to this degree. I apologized to him and told him things will be alright, and told him that I and his father would like to talk to him about the incident tomorrow night, and kissed him. He visibly relaxed after that. We had supper as a family and told the kids that we were sorry that our argument affected them and things would return to normal again. Both I and my husband apologized to the children for the argument, and my husband apologized to me personally as well, and spent time with our children. It was a relief to have my husband at my bed again after so many days and stressful nights. Normally, we would be talking to my son right now, but he had a stomach bug today and I didn't want to bother him at his state. I am not actually sure if it's a stomach bug or a stomach bug if I don't want to deal with this right now. Even though, if he needs time to talk with us, I'd like to give it to him. I am supposed to be an adult, and it took me 2 days to even talk with my sister about the incident. I am going to give the decision to see a therapist to him until I talked with a therapist of my own. I don't want to force him into an experience he doesn't want. I would rather not have my child be sick, so hopefully, this is a stomach bug if I don't want to deal with this for a day or two, and not stomach bug if I don't want to deal with this forever. We are now in search of therapists who can provide Zoom/video call sessions. Thanks for your help again, and thank you for the time, advice, and concern you have shown for my family. I am hopeful that we'll get through these events. So yeah, here it is. Fuck off Reddit. Not everything is black and white. Hitting a partner is a heinous thing to do, To act like words do not hurt is just absurd. This is a failure to communicate on both ends. We have a man who almost lost his son while he was driving. This has obviously traumatized him greatly if he feels he cannot even drive while anyone he loves is in the car. Then he lost his job in June and did not get another job until December. And his greatest supporter, his wife of 16 years, cuts him down so hard that she does not want to tell us what she said after he was trying to leave the argument so that it would not escalate. So where does this leave us? This leaves us with a broken man who instantly recognized he did something beyond the pale and left to stay in a hotel room after breaking her trust and possibly traumatizing his children. There will be a lot of rebuilding if this relationship continues. There will have to be couples and individual counseling, possibly for the children too. But both sides need to take responsibility for where they ended up in their marriage. If this was 6 months into a relationship, walk away no question. But an out of characteristic reaction from a man who was feeling as low as he ever has in his life. He almost killed his son. He lost his job. And then his wife viciously cuts him down. Might deserve a chance to rebuild his marriage. Does this sound like an anomaly on both your parts? If so, don't rug sweep it. Dig in and work on your marriage. If both of you are willing to do some hard work and be honest, you have a chance. There is no justification for physical or verbal abuse. We are human and can grow and learn. Thank you. I don't want to sound like a victim loving her abuser, but even though most people here and my sister thought nothing of my insult to his manhood, I feel that should be addressed as well if we want to move past this. And yes, this is an anomaly. I never thought we would end up in a situation where I disrespected my husband to that degree, or that he would physically strike me in front of our children. I'm torn here. It goes without saying that ultimately, this is your decision. I know that's going to go against the leave him immediately flow, but there's been a lot going on. There is no excuse for physical violence. It also should go without saying that before he comes back to live with the family, if you decide to give him one, and only one, more chance, much counseling needs to take place. I also feel strongly that he needs to be the one to talk to your kids about this at the appropriate time. He needs to man up to what he did and tell them that it will never happen again and that it is never okay. Regardless to everything else about staying or not, your husband needs therapy, but specifically a trauma therapist. You've been in a bad car accident that injured someone else. It eats at you and literally changes your brain. I am not a doctor or therapist, but it sounds like he has PTSD. That is not an excuse for hitting you. I just think it's important to realize that he is working against his own brain. Therapy for you would also be advisable. And couples therapy. Really? Just therapy for everyone? I think therapy helps everyone be better regardless of trauma or mental stuff, as long as they want to be better. First of all, your husband should get therapy for the guilt he feels about the car accident, but maybe also together with you. Then, you should sit down and seriously think about what you want and how out of character you see this situation, if you are afraid it happens again or not. Depending on if you want to stay with your husband, you should look for marriage counseling or something. Also, maybe you should talk to your son. If you really think he has seen it, you may should have a talk. Depends a bit on how old he is. Communication can prevent stuff. You may should ask someone how to do it. I'm sure there is a hotline or something that can help explaining stuff like that to your children, especially if you want to stay together, even if just as a family. Edit, to the staying part, like someone else said, you should never accept violence, especially from someone who loves you or says so. If you want to stay together, there is a lot of work to do, and this should be clear to your husband as well as to you. This is something that shouldn't happen again, but if you give him a chance and he does it again, break up, take your kids. Be consequent for your own sake, but at least for your children. I received a considerable payout from my late husband's life insurance, which I intend to put towards our kids, but I also have kids from a previous marriage. When we married, I had 2 kids from a previous marriage and he had 1, and we also had 1 together. Part of me feels like dedicating a share of the payout to helping his stepkids would be stealing from his biological children. Although I feel like he raised them for long enough, 9 years, and had such a bond with them, that it would be cruel to deny them their share of that assistance. assistance. Truthfully, he was more of a father to them in the past few years than their biological father has been, and I can't say for sure what his stance would have been on the issue. I 20th think I'm being hit on by my 30M brother-in-law. First and foremost, I'm sorry for any mistakes. I'm writing this on my phone and English is not my first language. So, to get to the problem, this brother-in-law, Bill, going forward, is actually not mine, but my boyfriend's, 23M, with whom I've been for 3 years. Everything was normal until we've had to move back in with my boyfriend's parents due to COVID couple of months ago. We currently live with them in a family house, the first floor being occupied by my boyfriend's parents, and us, and the second by his sister, 26F, and Bill with 2 kids, boys 2 and 4. Recently, Bill has started acting strangely towards me. At first, it was just excessively complimenting me, but that escalated. He's been trying to touch me on every opportunity he gets. Brushing our hands together, leaning really close towards me, smelling my hair, touching my hips, and now he's trying to hug me whenever he manages to get us alone. At first, I tried to dismiss it as him searching for comfort, as he confided in me that his relationship with his wife is not going well, because all her attention is on their kids 100% of the time and he feels neglected. There have been some other issues between them, which I'm not gonna get into, but his behavior is starting to scare me now. Yesterday, I was cooking and as per usual, I had my headphones in, when he sneaked up behind me and hugged me. And when I got startled and turned around, he kissed my forehead and started petting my hair. I was so surprised I couldn't even speak up. After he let go, he acted as if nothing ever happened and proceeded to do small talk with me. Before you come for me, for wanting it and not setting boundaries, I was beaten and almost RA'd by a guy when I was 14 for rejecting him, so I have a very hard time saying straight up no to people. Also, my boyfriend doesn't know about this. He and Bill have a really great relationship, which I don't want to ruin, but I'm also so afraid that his wife will find out about what's been happening and turn this on me, as she doesn't really like me that much. Am I misinterpreting the situation? How can I deal with it without hurting anyone? Is it okay to tell my boyfriend? Thank you in advance for every advice you have for me. Edit, I will definitely talk to my boyfriend about this. He's gonna be home in few hours. I'm also supposed to babysit the boys tomorrow, so I'll update you guys about it once I have more to say. Thank you for your comments. I read through all of them and they have been really helpful and supportive. Edit 2, update is posted here.